Good evening, and welcome to the 2023 Northwestern Athletic Hall of Fame induction ceremony. I'm Michael Horstman, the Director of Athletics at Northwestern High School. I'm also very glad to have all of you could join us here at Northwestern for this special evening. I would like to take a moment and welcome back our many alumni that have gathered here tonight. It is good to have you all back home. Northwestern High School began in 1948 as a consolidation of Howard, Clay, and Irvin schools. For the past 75 years, we have grown athletically to now offer over 20 varsity sports and 31 developmental level teams. From 5th grade to JV, we compete as a member of the IHSAA, Indiana Athletic Association. Over the past 75 years, there have been so many talented coaches, athletes, and contributors pass through our doors. We have joined together tonight to recognize, honor those who have made a difference and have impacted and who have led the way for others to follow. If we could now please rise, face the flag, sing our national anthem. Tonight our national anthem will be played by Jeremy Snyder, Northwestern High School Band Director. If I could, I would like to now read the purpose for this induction as stated in the Constitution of the Northwestern Athletic Hall of Fame. The Northwestern Athletic Hall of Fame will be organized as a way to maintain the heritage and tradition of successful athletic programs at Northwestern High School. In addition, it will serve as a means of recognizing, preserving, and honoring the athletes, coaches, and individuals who made significant contributions to athletic programs at Northwestern High School. Many individuals have been influential in the Tiger tradition of excellence and have had exemplary accomplishments on the athletic fields and in support of Northwestern athletic programs. The Northwestern Athletic Hall of Fame honors the contributions and accomplishments of these individuals who are worthy of recognition as examples for others to emulate. I'd like to take a moment to welcome High School Principal Tim Schoaf, High School Assistant Principal Jackie Berkshire, Northwestern Superintendent Kristen Bilke, our Student Athletic Leadership Team, Aubrey Evilsizer, President, Vice President McKenna Layden, Tori Clausen, Hannah Moore, Natalie Weber, Catherine Bath, Jocelyn Smith, Andrew Lesko, Blake Wise, AJ Burkhalter, Mia Schoaf, Berkeley Ray, and Addie Robinson. I would also like to extend a thank you to our athletic secretary, Christina Kidwell, set up from our Northwestern custodial staff, the Northwestern Booster Club for the continued partnership in the Hall of Fame, Windmill Grill Restaurant for their efforts in preparing to the great meal tonight, and all of you here tonight to come to be part of an evening and honor the tradition of Northwestern athletics. I would also like to take a moment just to introduce the 2023 Northwestern Athletic Hall of Fame Committee. Chair, Daniel J. Armstrong, retired athletic director. Community members, Stan Rybolt, Jody Pippinger. Students, Aubrey Evilsizer and McKenna Layden. Former head coaches, Todd Miller, Pete Schroer. Current head coaches, Ryan Ward, Danita Walters, and Alex Peer. At this time, I would like to call on our Northwestern Student Leadership Team President, Aubrey Evilsizer, to come forward and lead us in our invocation.
Please bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for allowing us the opportunity to gather here today to celebrate the significant accomplishments of the former athletes, coaches, and contributors we are honoring tonight. We're thankful for this opportunity to reconnect and rekindle relationships with each other and spark new ones. I pray for good health for everyone in this room and their families. May you bless them with your love and joy. Bless the farmers who produce our foods and the hands that prepared it. Allow it to nourish our bodies. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
At this time, it is with great pleasure that I introduce former Northwestern Athletic Director and 2023 Chairman of Northwestern Athletic Hall of Fame, Dan Armstrong, to serve tonight's Hall of Fame MC.
Good evening, everybody. You know, I've told several of you that have been here every year that this is my favorite night all year. I truly enjoy seeing all of you, and some of you have been here every single year, and it's just a blessing for me to see and hear the stories, and I truly love to go back. I think it means more, certainly when you leave here, and when I was here, you know, this is my 35th year of being in this school district, and it just means a whole lot. I would like to start by thanking Michael Horstman, who was my replacement. I think he's probably come in and nobody remembers who I was because he's that good. And I just appreciate his help with this and allowing me to stay a part of this. And it's been a lot of fun doing it, and I certainly appreciate Mike and wish him all the best here as we go forward, and I hope I can be of help to him anytime. So let's get started. It's good to see all of you, and I want to start by explaining what we are here for. The Northwestern Athletic Hall of Fame is organized into three wings. If you were in the Hall of Fame, you saw the boards. There's the athlete wing, the coaches wing, and the contributor wing. Each wing inductee will receive an award that is named after individuals who have made significant contributions, have had major accomplishments, have the values, leadership, and goals that Northwestern Athletics and Northwestern High School stand for. These individuals are worthy of recognition as examples for others to emulate, and will be recognized each year when their awards are given to worthy inductees as they enter the Northwestern Athletic Hall of Fame. Their biographies will be at the top of each wing's award wall in the Hall of Fame. Permit me, if you will, to read the biographies for each of those namesakes. Brent Graber was an athlete at Northwestern from 1993 to 1997. Brent led by his example and few words for teammates and classmates. He loved to learn and play, approaching academics and sports with the great enthusiasm, persistence, and integrity. He competed with intensity and keenness under pressure. He loved to win and hated to lose. Brent finished his high school career with 6 varsity letters and was academic all-state in football and baseball. Brent loved playing baseball and football, especially with his high school teammates, telling his father high school football was the best. He encouraged others to be successful in academics and sports. In Brent's senior year at Northwestern, which was the 96-97 school year, the football team averaged over 50 points per game. The football coach said, "I want the ball in Brent's hands as much as possible during games because he seems to thrive on the pressure." Brent's 33 stolen bases and 42 runs scored in 26 games in his senior year were remarkable. And NHS baseball coach Dan Armstrong, me, said teasingly, "I think Brent hits singles so he can steal second base," and that's a fact. I knew I could I didn't even give him the sign. I told him to steal at will because nobody could throw him out. Coach Jim Gish said, "I love coaching Brent because he works so hard and so respectful of coaches and other players." Brent graduated near the top of his NHS class and received the leadership scholarship to attend Wabash College. He lettered in all 4 years of football at Wabash College as a kickoff returner and receiver, while graduating with honors summa cum laude in economics. Brent did sport climbing in the mountains of Colorado and Thailand with his brother Darren, who graduated from Northwestern in 2001. He became an expert snow skier, backcountry and downhill. He was an avid backpacker and enjoyed mountain biking in the Rocky Mountains and Utah. He died much too young in 2009 while looking out for the safety of 2 other cyclists. Brent's epitaph, as written by his brother Darren Graber, said, "Followed his joyful curiosity, let loose the warmth of his heart, and befriended all with his loving spirit." All athletes inducted into the athlete wing of the Northwestern Athletic Hall of Fame will receive the Brent Graber Brian Hemmerly Award of Excellence. Brian Hemmerly. Brian Hemmerly was an athlete at Northwestern High School from 1993 to 1997. Brian participated in soccer, wrestling, and baseball all 12 seasons of athletics during his high school career. Brian had a love for athletics and a burning desire to work hard and to win. Brian had an infectious smile that made you feel good about any situation. And he drove his teammates to be positive and to work harder than expected. He loved to win and hated to lose. Brian was awarded the Eye of the Tiger Award for participating in 12 seasons of athletics and a blanket award for 10 varsity letters. Brian was a part of 2 team sectional championships in soccer in 95 and 96. The 1996 Tiger soccer team won the first ever boys soccer Mid-Indiana Conference Championship, setting the expectation for how Tiger soccer teams still play today. Brian was the 1997 male recipient of the Robert K. Downey Memorial Scholarship Athlete Award, which is one of the most prestigious awards given at Northwestern High School. After graduation from Northwestern in 1997, Brian went on to Purdue and graduated in 2001 from the Krannert School of Management with a degree in industrial management. Brian went to work for GE from 2001 to 2003, and then in 2003 through 2006 worked in Chicago as a financial analyst. In 2006, Brian became an entrepreneur working in real estate and owning a restaurant. He was suddenly taken from us at the age of 28 in 2007. Brian was a true inspirational leader who worked to set standards for those after him to follow. His work ethic was second to none. Brian worked hard and had a burning desire to win even when he was staring in the face of doubt from his teammates. He led teams even as a sophomore. Brian was a standard setter and had tremendous communication skills. Brian Hemmerly was a one-of-a-kind leader with work ethic second to none. If he was knocked down, he got up and he worked harder. He helped create the winning standard and championship mentality in baseball at Northwestern that continues still to this day. He worked because it was what was asked of him. He believed because it was what you should do. He was a winner because he was just a good quality person. He is a player you never forget. I wrote that because I got the opportunity to coach both of these men. All athletes inducted into the athlete wing of Northwestern Athletic Hall of Fame will receive the Brent Graber Brian Himmerly Award of Excellence. These two gentlemen in baseball played for me. One led off, the other was in the second hole. They were like brothers. They helped turn around a program that was struggling for a couple years. I hold those two guys dear in my heart because of what they went through to do, and then to lose them, it just didn't seem right. But it happens. The Coaches Award is named after Gerald Hood. Gerald Hood served Northwestern High School as a math teacher and coach for over 30 years. Gerald served Northwestern High School with a servant's heart and had a true love for teaching and coaching Northwestern students. Gerald served as boys varsity track coach from 1973 to 75 and boys basketball coach from 76 through 78, compiling a 24-18 record as a varsity basketball coach. He came back to coach junior varsity middle school basketball for several years after leaving the head coaching position. He was beloved by those who called him a colleague and alike for those who had the opportunity to be in the classroom or on his team. Gerald Hood was one of the unsung heroes of the coaching world. For most of his career, he spent the hours, days, weeks, and years working as the assistant coach in the background. Out of the limelight, that didn't matter to Gerald. No matter if he was the assistant or the head coach, he was teaching those around him. Those who knew him learned from him. He commanded a respect by his professionalism, demeanor, and work ethic. He was and will always be a great person. He was and will always be a man they called teacher. All coaches inducted into the Coaches Wing of the Northwestern Athletic Hall of Fame will receive the Gerald Hood Coaches Award of Excellence. The Contributor Wing is named after Gerald Sullivan. Gerald Sullivan was a special individual who drove a bus for Northwestern School Corporation, who greeted every student every day with a smile and cared about each of them as they cared for him. Gerald drove a bus for athletic events for nearly 30 years. He was the first athletic bus driver in our school's history to be awarded a state championship ring for his service to our varsity basketball team in its state basketball championship run in 2006-07. Gerald also drove for the 1992 state runner-up football team and served as the team driver for varsity football and varsity basketball for many years. Each team that he drove for, he got to know personally, and the athletes cared for him and considered him one of the team. Gerald was a huge Northwestern fan and a constant Northwestern supporter in all aspects of academics and athletics. Gerald Sullivan, in his 30-year bus driving career, touched thousands of lives, and he was such a humble man. When you had a one-on-one conversation with Gerald, his focus was on you. Gerald was kind, giving, and had a servant's heart. All contributors inducted into the Contributor Wing of the Northwestern Athletic Hall of Fame will receive the Gerald Sullivan Contributor Award of Excellence. And now, the reason you're all here is because we have 4 well-deserving inductees in 2023. Our first inductee is in the athlete wing. Let me read his bio. Randy Crowe was a student athlete at Northwestern High School from 1971 to 1975. Randy was a 4-sport athlete, earning 12 varsity letters. He earned 4 letters in cross country, 3 letters in basketball, 3 letters in baseball, and 2 letters in track and field. Randy was the second athlete in Northwestern history to earn the Blanket Award for 10 varsity letters. He would have earned the honor ring for 12 letters if the award had existed at that time. Randy was a member of the 1971 sectional championship cross-country team, which finished as state runner-up in 1971 and is considered the best cross-country team in Howard County history. Randy would be a part of the MIC cross-country conference team championships in 71, 73, and 74. And Gary Moomal's here, and he was a part of at least first two, right? Were you? Yeah. So he was a part of those teams as well, and is in our Hall of Fame. Randy scored 700 career points on the basketball floor. He led the Tigers in scoring his junior season, averaging 16 points per game. Randy was an outstanding perimeter jump shooter prior to the three-point line. He shot 85% from the free throw line his junior and senior years. In the 73-74, he was named second team All-MIC Conference. Let me add that at that time, to be all-conference, coaches got in a room and they hashed it out and had to vote. And so first or second team in most cases were the same because you just simply ran out of positions and the votes came that way in points. And I was in some of those meetings, in fact, a lot of them, and it could get pretty contentious because every coach wanted all of their players to be named on those teams. So that's quite an honor. In 1974 and 75, he was named honorable mention All-MIC Conference along with the Kokomo Tribune All-Area Team. In the 74-75 season, Northwestern basketball team went a perfect 20-0 during the regular season. They were the first team to do so in Howard County since 1942 and are still the only boys basketball team to remain perfect during the regular season in Northwestern history. The 1974-75 Tiger basketball team were MIC Conference champions. Baseball was another sport in which Randy excelled for Northwestern, being named All-Conference Honorable Mention in 73 and again in 74. During the 1975 season, Randy pitched a state record 142 and 2/3 innings, which still holds today as a state record and will never be broken. Due to the pitching rules that are now in place, pitchers simply can't pitch that many innings. He probably can't pick his arm up at this point. That's why we made those rules. That season, he also had 201 strikeouts, which ranks 5th all-time in state history and is a Northwestern school record. Randy attacked hitters with curveballs and sinker balls, so they say. True? Didn't have the arm after 142 and 2/3 innings. Randy's fourth sport of track and field saw him compete on a 1973 school record 4x800 relay team. Dan Exmeyer, Vic Vernal, who was a member of the Hall of Fame, and Dave Stevens, former coach here, joined Randy to run an 8:15.1 school record that still holds today. Randy went straight into the workforce after high school, but continued to play City League basketball until he was 35, and the rumor is that he averaged about 30 points a game. They had the three-point line then, didn't they? Randy has been married to his wife, Kathy, since 1982. I would like to call up Athletic Director Michael Horstman to present this award. If they come up, and Randy, would you come forward to get to your award, and then I will give you a few minutes to speak.
Okay, I appreciate you all coming. I'm really proud of my family and friends that came. My wife, Kathy, Larry, my golf buddy, gotta have a golf buddy, his wife, Marilyn, my sister, Kathy, her husband, Ken, Tony, and my sister, Julie. They came from Illinois. But mainly, I've got to take a little twist on this because everything he read, I was going to kind of mention. So I'm going to, I think I'll go with people that motivated me and supported me through my career at Northwestern, and I have to go mainly my mom and dad. They supported me for my whole career. They took me, all the games, all the practices, and Dad was like my best buddy. They're no longer with us, but it was just, they were perfect. But Dad could always light a fire under me. I mean, for instance, I think it was a 7th grade. Coach Rybolt come up to me and said, "Hey, Randy, how would you like to run cross country?" I'm kind of like John Travolta in the movie Grease. I'll try anything. So I ran practice for like 3 weeks. I went home and told Dad, I think I'm pretty good at this. I think I might win this race. So Dad's like, all right. So he went to my meet. Him and Mom came to the race, and we came home after the race. Walked into the living room. My sister Kathy was there, and she goes, Dad, how'd Randy do? Dad said, there he was, neck and neck, this other guy. Neck and neck, coming towards the finish line, neck and neck with the other guy, and Randy beat him. And my sister goes, he won? Dad goes, nah, he got next to the last. but he lit a fire under me. So 2 years later, I was motivated enough to run varsity on the team with Gary Mumaw. And we got, where's Gary? There's Gary Mumaw. And we had a great team there. If only I wasn't a freshman, we could have won the state. We got second, so. And also, let's go to basketball. Go way back to fourth grade, of all things. How can I do that? You know what? I've been out 48 years. All right, that's like 7 dog years. That's better. But Kenny Pryfogle was my idol when I was a little kid. Dad used to take me to the games, and I would go, boy, I want to be like that little Kenny Pryfogle. He can play ball. And I just texted him the other day, and Kenny's still a great role model. He's a follower of the Lord, and he still plays 3 times a week. 74 years old, he plays basketball 3 times a week. So, you can't beat that. But anyway, our core model, or our core group of guys in basketball, we went together from 7th grade on. And like you said, when we got to our senior year, we went undefeated. And there was so much hoopla out here. I mean, the gym was just packed. They turned people away. And back then they had a pep block that covered that whole side of the gym, and it was just amazing. I wish they'd get that back. But that was a great time. So I got track and baseball left. But track, longtime coach, cross-country coach Dave Stevens, he motivated me to run track because when he was like 7th grade, he held the national 3/4 mile record. I mean, in track. That's just amazing. So that motivated me to run. And like you said, our junior year, him and Vic Bernal, Dan Exmeyer, and me, we got the 4x800 record for the school, and it still stands. So this is going quicker than I thought, Dan, because you've already said most of the stuff. But anyway, then I'll go to baseball. Baseball was my second love. Basketball was my first love. I think it was 11 years old, of all things. I just loved to pitch. And just a little scrawny guy, so I didn't have a whole lot of velocity on my pitches or anything. But I met this guy named Demetrius Stubberfield. And he showed me how to throw a sinker ball and a curve ball. So I just worked on those. And like you said, I took that all through high school, and pretty much that's it. That's how I pitched 142 innings. Chris Kaufman's dad was a big reason for that. That's his heart. But anyway, that takes care about that. But most important thing actually that's happened in my life in the last 2 years is I accepted Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. I mean, I went 64 years not knowing anything. And now I actually, it's hard to explain, but I woke up one morning and he hugged me. I felt him hug me. I don't want you to laugh or anything, but I actually felt it. So me and my wife have been going to Bennett Switch Community Church for the last 2 years, and it's just a blessing. I just love it. And Pastor Norm and Pastor Kenny would love to see you out there in Bennett Switch on this coming Sunday morning, 9 o'clock. So anyway, that's all I got. God bless all of you, and have a great one.
Congratulations, Randy. Our next athlete inductee. Lauren Giesecke was a student athlete at Northwestern High School from 2003 to 2007. Lauren was a 3-sport athlete, earning 12 varsity letters. Lauren earned 4 varsity letters each in girls golf, girls basketball, and girls track and field. Lauren earned both the Northwestern Blanket Award 10 varsity letters and the Honor Ring 12 varsity letters. Lauren was a part of the 2005 girls golf team that set a school record for 18-hole score as a team of 316. In 2005, she shot a 79 in the Mid-Indiana Conference Tournament and earned second team All-MIC Conference. Lauren was named golf team captain her senior year in 2006. The girls golf team broke the 18-hole school record of 310 in 2006. The 2006 team was an MIC Girls Golf Conference champions. The team placed second in the 2006 IHSA Western Sectional, with Lauren shooting a 77 to place second as an individual. The team would advance and place third in the 2006 IHSA Marion Regional, qualifying for the IHSA State Tournament, and went on to place ninth in the IHSA State Tournament, shooting a 36-hole team score of 698 for 2 days. Lauren went on to place 25th as an individual at the 2006 IHSA State Tournament, shooting a 2-day total of 165. And I have to stop there for a second, and I have to remind Lauren that she was going to be a basketball player and wasn't sure about golf. Isn't that true, Lauren? If I remember right, you were a pretty good golfer. In girls basketball, Lauren earned honorable mention All-MIC Conference honors in 2004 and 2005, and again in 2007. As a team, the Tigers won the 2006-07 MIC Conference Championship, Howard County Championship, and were the Frankfurt Hot Dog Tournament champions. As a 4-year athlete in track and field, Lauren competed in the discus, placing second in the 2007 MIC Conference meet and second place in the sectional that year. Lauren earned an academic and athletic scholarship to play golf at Indiana University. She earned 4 varsity letters and was named team captain her senior year. Lauren was a member of the 2008 and 2010 the NCAA regional championship teams. She was selected to the All Big Ten academic team. Lauren earned a degree in exercise science and a minor in coaching. She put the minor to good work. After gaining her degree at Indiana University, Lauren went to work as junior golf manager of PGA of America's Georgia section. She also worked with the American Junior Golf Association and International Junior Golf Tour. From 2013 to 2015, Lauren served as assistant golf coach at the University of South Florida. In 2015, Lauren was hired as the head women's golf coach at NCAA Division I Grand Canyon University in Phoenix, right outside of Phoenix. She led the first team in GCU Athletics D1 history to compete in the postseason with a trip to the 2018 NCAA San Francisco Regional. Lauren led GCU to the 2018 WAC Golf Conference Championship. She was named WAC Conference Coach of the Year in 2018. Lauren has had 21 WGCA All-American Scholars at GCU, because that's the most important part of it, because we are talking about education-based athletics. She was also selected as the head coach of Team USA at the Toyota Junior Golf World Cup in Japan, in which she guided the Team USA, to a 3rd place in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, Lauren Giesecke.
All right. Wow. Honestly, this feels kind of surreal and just amazing to be back in this gym. It feels like yesterday I was helping my sister's gymnastics team roll out these huge, heavy mats, which was always a blast to watch my sister when she went to school here. But first, I'd like to thank Northwestern School Corporation for this amazing honor, and what a lovely evening that we've had tonight. I would also like to thank everyone who organized this event, especially Dan Armstrong. This is truly special. Very, very proud to be a Northwestern Tiger. Finally, I want to thank all my friends and family that have come out to support me, from AAU basketball games to golf tournaments to IU tournaments to even being my officiant at my wedding. You guys are truly special to me, and thank you for being here. Being an athlete was always life-changing for me. I was very shy and pretty quiet growing up. So when I first started playing sports here at Northwestern, I began with basketball and softball in elementary school, and then moved on to play 3 sports in high school with track, basketball, and golf. And I made some lifelong friends. Really cool to see Jackie here and one of my other friends, Adria's parents here. So it's really cool, and definitely lifelong friendships were made. As I headed off to IU to play golf, I was still very shy and very quiet, but it was there that I found my voice and my passion, which is coaching. I was the team captain my senior year, like we heard, and I learned a lot of great skills that I still use every day today. After college, I worked for the Georgia PGA section for the PGA of America. Then I moved to Tampa and was the assistant golf coach at the University of South Florida. When I was offered the head coach position for Grand Canyon University, it was truly a dream come true, and I was excited to get going and get started out there. So I've learned a lot being a college golf coach, but the biggest thing that I've learned is that it's a gift. I get to play a role in the lives of some remarkable young women, and I don't take that for granted, but I had some remarkable coaches that guided me when I was here in high school. One of those coaches being Mary Clem. She had a tremendous impact on my life. She always encouraged me and supported me in everything I did. A little side story for those who know my father. He walked right up to Clem right before our high school golf season and probably sternly, I'm guessing, said, "Hey Clem, basketball is Lauren's future. You know, don't do anything to hurt her shooting arm. We know where she's headed, so please just don't hurt the shooting arm." And I know Clem pretty well. I guarantee she just laughed, and she knew deep down, basketball was not going to be my future. But she never stopped encouraging me. Every single second, every single day, she encouraged me to do what I wanted to. So I would like to share kind of a recent story or photo. This is me hugging one of my players, I believe about a week ago. And this is a remarkable young woman that I accidentally kind of caught while recruiting. Actually, I heard her hit a drive, and it caught my attention, and I kind of snapped my head back and said, "Whoa, what was that noise?" So I watched her for a few holes, and she was amazing, just a great, great golfer. Tried to reach out to her, tried to recruit her pretty heavily, but it was really difficult. I had some troubles getting a phone number, an email, anything like that, and turns out her and her family lived in a homeless shelter. So she came from kind of a rough background, but I knew she needed us, and I knew we needed her. So I did everything I could. I worked, super, super hard, got a hold of her, and eventually got her over to GCU. So this photo of me hugging her is just really cool. It's an emotional photo for both of us. She just won our home tournament, shot 8 under par after 3 rounds, beat 95 players. So it's just amazing to see where she's come and how much she's succeeding at GCU. So from there, being inducted into the Sports Hall of Fame here is an honor. I will always treasure this. Competing in sports obviously has a huge impact on my life and in my career. Another story I'd like to share is I remember walking down the hallway over by the library area with my dad, and we're walking along, and I see some plaques on the wall, and this is before I was in high school, and I say, "Hey Dad, what are these plaques? What's that one?" And he said, you know, this one is if you win 6 or if you get 6 varsity letters. And I said, well, that's cool. And I said, well, what's this one? And he said, it's if you get 8. I said, well, that's pretty cool. And I said, well, what about this one? And he's like, kind of giggled, and he said, Laura, that's if you varsity in every sport, every single season. Kind of patted me on the head, and I was like, Dad, I'm going to do it. That's where I'm going to be. But I think probably deep down he kind of laughed a little bit. But, you know, from that, I hope to use this experience and this opportunity to share with my team everything that they can do, and hopefully all the young people in this room as well. A famous poet once said, people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And tonight you made me feel very special and very proud to be a Northwestern Tiger.
I don't know, Dan, that's kind of, I mean, she was kind of hard on you there. I was kind of alluding to that. I just didn't mention your name. She called you out right there. And here's what I'll say about Dan. Even though he said to Mary Clem, and Mary Clem said it to me, you know what he said? He said she's a basketball player and she's going to be a better golfer, is what Mary said. I said, well, I will tell you though, he became her #1 supporter on that golf course every time. So, and look what she's turned out to be. So, congratulations, Lauren. Well done. I'm feeling old because she kind of brought me into the job. You know, they came to my office like day 2 of my being an AD and handed me a trophy and a school record board saying they had set a school record. So thank you for that. All right, let's move forward to the coaches wing induction this evening. Ken Kaufman. Ken Kaufman served as head baseball coach at Northwestern High School from 1971 to 1988. During those 18 seasons, Coach Kaufman amassed a career record of 263 and 185. Ken has the most baseball coaching wins in Northwestern history. Northwestern won a sectional baseball championship in 1984. He went on to coach at Indianapolis Cathedral High School until 1996 and had a baseball career coaching record of 384, 270, and 1 between the two schools. Coach Kaufman also served as Northwestern head football coach from 1972 through 1976 and had a career record of 19 and 30. Coach Kaufman also served in many assistant and lower level coaching roles throughout his education career at Northwestern. Ken also pitched in to help in many ways, such as basketball, bookkeeper, or whatever was needed in each sporting event. If you look up there, you'll see him doing that in that top right-hand corner. Ken worked at Northwestern High School for 20 years and worked for 59 years in education for 4 different schools: Peru, North Miami, Northwestern, and Cathedral. Ken served as a longtime IHSA official in baseball, softball, volleyball, track and field, and football. He served as an umpire for the 2014 IHSA Class A state football, let me back up. He served as an umpire for the 2014 IHSA Class A state softball finals. Ken was married to his wife Jane for 57 years. They have a son Chris and a daughter Abby, both Northwestern graduates, and 5 grandchildren. Unfortunately, Ken Kaufman passed away in 2022. I did not have the honor to work with Ken. Ken left Northwestern in May after, and I came in July. But I got to know Ken through his officiating, as he came here to do multiple sports. And he lived here locally, even though he was working in Indianapolis at the time, and I could always call him and say, you know, Ken, I need a softball official or a volleyball official or whatever, and he was always there with a smile. And you know what? Guys don't have to do that after serving in their career for as long as he did, but he did because he was given back to why we're here, and that's kids. And that's what we're here for, academic-based athletics. Ladies and gentlemen, representing Ken this evening is his son, Chris, who will come forward. You may know Chris. I see Jane is coming. Chris serves as an assistant IHSA commissioner. And so if you're at sporting events, you will see Chris.
Thank you, Dan. Good evening. I'm honored to represent my father and the entire Kaufman family this evening for this prestigious award. First, I want to thank the Hall of Fame committee, the administration, Dan Armstrong in particular, and everyone who made this possible. Dad would be very honored. Thank you also to those former players, friends, colleagues who are in attendance this evening. You make this occasion even more special. And obviously Randy Crowe, but my classmates Phil Sullivan and Kevin Brown. And there was not a better athlete than Kevin Brown in the 4 years that I attended Northwestern. So please stand up. Before I begin, I'd like to take a moment and introduce members of the Kaufman family in attendance. First, my mother, who was just up here, Jane, Dad's wife of 57 years. My wife, Stephanie, and our children, Katie and Blake. Wave, say hi. My sister, Abby, a 1990 graduate of Northwestern. Her husband, David, and their children, Austin, Jacob, and Lauren. So thanks for being here, everyone. Literally having grown up here, and I do mean exactly here. I spent every day here at Northwestern High School, actually elementary, junior high, and high school, my entire youth with my father. In my youth, I handed out salt tablets after football practices. I spent many evenings at open gyms, and I served as a bat boy for hundreds of foul balls that went into the cornfields. So I literally was here all the time. Later, I toiled as an athlete in football, basketball, and baseball. Yes, all here. My sister had some of the very same experiences, and I relate all this because Dad was here literally all the time. The day Abby was born, he rushed from the middle of baseball practice to St. Joseph Hospital and narrowly made the birth of my sister. And interestingly enough, it's also the same day that he passed, 80 years later. Pardon me. Dad was a career educator, whether it be in the classroom, the quarter, the field of play, or the school bus. He impacted so many lives in his 59 years of coaching, teaching, officiating, and transportation. You just heard from Dan on all of the schools he was at. It's pretty amazing. I mean, the man never wanted to stop. And it was really all about kids. He was really quite a fascinating man, a simple, caring, kind-hearted, common man who loved his wife and family, worked hard to provide the very best for everyone else. He cared about others far more than he ever was concerned about himself. A servant leader in his own way and style. Dad said many times that much of his coaching philosophy came directly from Northwestern coaching legend Bob Rodabaugh. Dad spent time coaching track and field, and those were some of his most cherished memories. While Bob was a big part of helping Dad hone his coaching skills, there were others at Northwestern who had a big impact. Merrill Hoban, John Perring, Wayne Allen, Mike Blackburn, and of course Dan Robinson. Coach, it's good to see you this evening. He always said that teaching and coaching at Northwestern was like working with a family, something he never took for granted. What does it mean to be a coach? You heard Lauren talk about her experiences in coaching. What does it mean to be a coach? Well, I think it's best summed up in why people refer to you as coach, even though you may have played for them many, many years ago. Calling someone coach means they've invested everything in you. That certainly makes sense, as my dad invested everything, every fiber, for an entire lifetime to being a coach and helping kids. Any coach worth their salt will tell you that it's all about kids. It's what motivated him as a teacher, later as an official, the kids. I call them kids because no matter how old they were perpetually kids to Dad. Coaches are selfless. They give of their time to teach those lessons that will be used later in life to thrive and overcome adversity. That perfectly defined Dad's coaching career. While I was young at the time, I will never forget the names and the stories that Dad told about so many Northwestern athletes. Names of the past like West, Kenny, Suter, Crowe, Hummel, Powell, Kiefaber, Saponaro, Corrigan, Kreitz, Hudson, McKean, Brown, Merrill, Liebrig, Jordan, Mumaw, Slaughter, Lytle, and Bresch. I could go on and on. I simply cannot name them all, but I do know they were all important to him. Being a coach didn't mean he stopped at helping kids once they graduated. So many stories exist of him helping players who were struggling or going through some adversity later in life. He cared about everyone that he coached because he believed if you worked hard for him, he was always going to be there for you. Even after Dad retired from coaching, he would head to the Carver Center in Kokomo's on Sundays and officiate basketball games for kids he had coached and coached against many years ago in high school. The man loved helping others, especially for those with whom he had developed relationships as their coach. They loved him being there. He loved being there. Once a coach, always a coach. Dad rarely ever yelled. When he did, it was so out of character, it was often caught many off guard, except for an occasional official or umpire or two. He was definitely one of those types of coaches and teachers you simply didn't want to let down. You knew he cared about you, and he knew exactly how hard to push you without going over the limit. My teammate Kevin Brown commented, Coach Kaufman was a great coach, teacher, leader of young men. No one celebrated our successes or lifted us back up after our failures like Coach K. In the midst of our erratic youthfulness, Coach K was our rock. Winning the 1984 Kokomo Sectional in baseball was certainly a highlight of his coaching career. I don't say this selfishly, it was just, at that moment in time, it was certainly needed, and it happened at a time that was terrific in his life. And probably because of the story I'm going to tell. Remember, this was pre-class sports, and after being, Northwestern was always a power in that sectional, and we had some great pitchers back in the day. I mean, the Corrigans, and we had to battle the Underwoods from Kokomo. I know Dad would talk about those. But we came so close to winning that sectional so many times. But it was one of the toughest sectionals, and it included ranked teams of Kokomo and Hayward at the time. We were no slouch, though, because you have to remember, this was the culmination of many years in the making, as Dad had coached most of those kids since they started playing baseball at Northwestern in the youth leagues, when the fields existed behind the elementary school, way back in the day. Yes, I had the privilege of being coached by my father my entire baseball career to that point. But more than that, my teammates had the very same experience. We put together a terrific regular season and won that sectional final against Hayworth in walk-off fashion because all of us cared about each other, a true team. I'm confident that after coming so close so many times with some great Northwestern teams of the past, this one was very special to him. I would be remiss if I didn't take a moment and recognize Gerald Hood. The entire Hood family were close friends of our family, and Dad would be honored to enter the coaches section that bears the name of his friend and colleague. They coached together for many years in different sports. I personally had the privilege of having Coach Hood as my trigonometry teacher and JV basketball coach. He was a great man, and I'm certainly proud to call him coach. In closing, to the other honorees this evening, congratulations. I'd like to especially congratulate Randy Crowe. While I was pretty young when I watched you play, you were very gifted, and I know Dad would be here telling stories about you if he could, and I'm sure the innings would come close, although my teammate Phil Sullivan, I would, if we didn't throw 142, it felt like we threw 142 each, Phil. Would be telling stories if we could, but I will tell you, your 200 strikeouts were certainly something to behold. So congratulations. Thank you all very much.
Congratulations to the Kaufman family. My only regret is that Ken wasn't here to do it. So, our last inductee this evening in the contributor wing is Dr. Jonathan Rybolt. And I'm excited about this induction because, as I told Jonathan yesterday, it's high time that we recognize a manager into this Hall of Fame because they are true servant leaders. Jonathan Rybolt served Northwestern High School and Northwestern Athletics as a student manager for football and boys basketball throughout high school. Jonathan served as a boys basketball manager from the 7th grade through high school. He served under coaches Phil Doherty, Jim Gish, Jim Yackel, and Delroy Ortman. He served as basketball statisticians for 2 years on top of his manager duties. Jonathan served as a varsity football manager for all 4 years of high school. He served under varsity football coaches Dan Robinson and Ott Hurley. Jonathan graduated from Northwestern High School in 2003, third in his class academically. Jonathan was highly respected for his attention to detail in class and whatever task he was given as a manager. Assistant football coach Dean Chris once said that Jonathan was the only manager he knew under Coach Robinson that could run the practice schedule, and that's saying something. I worked under Coach Robinson, and his practice schedule was quite intense. Would that be a good word? Complex? That'd be another word, maybe. Jonathan was awarded the Robert K. Downey Award for Outstanding Citizenship, Scholarship, and Sportsmanship. Jonathan is the only manager to ever receive this award at Northwestern. Jonathan continued as a football manager for 5 years under coaches Jerry DiNardo, Terry Hepner at Indiana University. As a senior, he was part of the Insight Bowl team that played in Phoenix, Arizona. Jonathan continued his education in the IU School of Medicine to earn his Doctor of Medicine degree and is currently an anesthesiologist serving here in Kokomo. Dr. Jonathan Rybolt is married to his wife Stephanie, and they have 2 children, Luke and Jude. I would like to ask Stan Rybolt to come forward, also a member of the Northwestern Contributor Wing Hall of Fame, to give the award named after Jonathan's grandfather. Jonathan, would you come forward, please?
All right, so I had to make my notes just like I had an assignment back in school, so I didn't forget anything. But if anyone is wondering if there's a conspiracy for family tradition here, it'd be hard to deny with everything he just mentioned. But I certainly didn't expect to be here tonight or any other March evening for this, so it was quite surprising to get that call from Dan when I did, but certainly thankful that it happened. So those in attendance with me tonight are my wife Stephanie and sons Luke and Jude, which they look bored out of their minds right now. But I appreciate their attendance. In addition, mom and dad, as most of you know, and then my father-in-law Mark and sister-in-law Courtney. Thank you all for being here. So I did start in 7th grade. I don't know the story exactly. My parents may or probably know it better, but anyway, I love athletics and I love basketball, but it doesn't love me. So I was, what am I going to do with myself? I want to be involved in athletics, but it's just not going to happen for me. So anyway, I ended up being a manager for the basketball team, but I don't think Mr. Doherty back in the day had great luck with having managers. And so I think he was kind of hesitant, but ultimately he did let me do it, and then we started from there and went forward for a long time. So he had an assistant that year named Jim Gish. So Mr. Gish at that time was the 7th grade assistant. So anyway, his son was born that year, so it's been a bit. But anyway, I continued on just doing basketball through 8th grade. In high school, I actually started as a freshman and did basketball only. I did football starting my sophomore year. Mr. Robinson asked me if I would be interested, and so I said, yeah, let's give that a shot. And so I ended up doing that as well. And then there was a new IU football coach named Jerry DiNardo who went around to every high school in Indiana, mostly for recruiting players, I assume. But he got a manager out of the deal when he came here. So anyway, that's how the connection to IU got started. So certainly thankful for how that worked out and Coach Robinson's involvement in that. The IU experience was great in terms of continuing doing the manager deal, getting to fly all over the country for seeing all the classic venues you all know if you like college football. And I even have an IU bowl ring. I mean, anybody can get an Ohio State bowl ring, okay? But I have an IU bowl ring. So, and if ever need to see proof that one exists, let me know afterwards, okay? So, anyway, all of that in my mind led to the ability to do med school, which was ultimately what I wanted to do. You have to stand out somehow to get in because everybody's grades look the same, everybody's story is the same, I want to help people, whatever. So something has to be different. So for me, getting to do, the managing thing and then doing it through college while being a full-time student, that was kind of my thing to stand out, to be different. So I really do feel that, starting with Mr. Doherty, 7th grade, going all the way through and then carrying it on to IU, was a big factor in allowing me to do what I wanted to do, later in life. So, and then I wanted to finish because I got to thinking about all the people that were in the Hall of Fame, because I've been several times. We all came when this kind of got started because my grandpa had just passed away prior to the Hall of Fame starting, and then it became his named after him. So, but anyway, I got to thinking of all the people that I knew that were in it that had somehow I had interacted with them while I was here. And I got to thinking, I think it's almost the entire list of people, which it's not, but it is a huge list. And I think it's kind of cool. Normally reading names, I don't think is an effective thing for standing out. But in this case, it's just kind of cool to see the amount of people that affected my life, and that it's a great honor for each person that stands up here to do it, but it really shows the effect that all those people have on not just my time here, but on any kid that passes through. So all of the Hall of Famers that I interacted with in some way while I was here, starting with contributors, Gerald Sullivan, my grandpa, Stan Rybolt, my dad, Mike Blackburn, Marcia Miller, Ryan Snoddy, Jeff McKinley, Jenna Tarkington, now Moomaw, Austin Parkinson, Scott Robinson as a coach, not as the athlete that he's in for, but as a coach, Katie Hinkle, and then coaches that are in it, Dan Robinson, Jim Yakel, and I've mentioned Mr. Doherty's name several times. I'd be glad to campaign for him as well. And then two other people I want to mention. Coach Gish isn't in now, but I'm pretty confident it will be a first ballot Hall of Famer when his time comes. And then finally, this dude probably got to be in at some point. But anyway, thankful to all of them and all of these people on this list. All the people not on this list that I mentioned as well, and I'm sure, we all would leave out some. We can't mention every person we interacted with, but just so appreciative for the honor and thankful to be here tonight.
I want to speak to something he said, the conspiracy. His father, he said, I would really love to give that award to him. And I said, absolutely. He said, I just don't want people to think that, well, I got something to say about that. I don't know of family that serves this community more than that family has. And to what they do, and they don't have to do it. From Gerald to Stan to what Jonathan did all those years as a manager. It's tough to be a manager. It's a hard job, and sometimes coaches aren't very nice to you, and the kids don't always treat you well. But, Jonathan shared something to me yesterday. He said, all of the years that I was a manager, he said, people talk about how athletes they mistreat managers and so forth. He said, no one mistreated me. Well, I know why. Because of who he was, all right? And because of who he was, that's why they didn't mistreat him. He's special, and that's why he was inducted today. So congratulations to all the inductees and to all those who have been inducted that are sitting here tonight that have come back. And I wish everyone would come back. I wish we could fill this gym every time. We have 64 inductees into the Hall of Fame that we started in the first induction class of 2014. So for those athletes that were inducted today, they filled the board. The first board that we created in there for the athletes, both sides are now full, and we now have to add. That's a good problem to have. That means we've had some unbelievable people come through here. So I want to say a huge thank you to all of you who attended tonight. Please spread the word about this. It's a special night. I love it. Next year's Induction Hall of Fame will be on March 8th, 2024. It's just like a sporting event. We just keep putting it over to the next year. Please contact me if you have someone who you believe, or Mike as well. Get the names of those you think should be inducted. Spend a little time before you do that and make sure that they qualify. Being just a good athlete, or that doesn't necessarily mean they qualify. They have to meet some requirements. So make sure you look at that. In front of you on the table, and back there at the table as you leave, there's a box, and then there's envelopes. I don't bring you here to try to clean out your wallets, but the only way this survives is that people make contributions, because we don't always pay for this event from the event. So we ask if you feel led to do so, we would love to have your donation. Fill it out. You can also put it to somebody else's name, whoever you would like to honor. then you can put it in the box back there on your way out. Or if you don't want to do that tonight, you can send it into the athletic office, and that money goes to the Athletic Hall of Fame fund. It stays for this Hall of Fame. It is not necessarily going to the athletic department, even though as an athletic director, and I know Mike looks at that fund every once in a while and says, boy, I'd like to get my hand on that. But we need that money to make this work, because this is important. I would ask that if you're an inductee this evening, you and your families, if you would stay and meet over by the purple wall over there. We would like to get some more pictures with you as a group. That gives you a chance to also take pictures with your own cameras and so forth. So please talk to one another, but please meet over there and don't leave before we can get some pictures. It is my goal then to get those pictures and send them to you. And also, we'll put it on the athletic webpage, but tonight's induction ceremony was filmed, and it will be put on YouTube, and we'll get that on the athletic website so that you can go on there and you can watch the whole evening again if you would like, or share it with somebody who may not have been able to be here. Thank you all. Have a great night. See you next year.
Real quick, I want to congratulate all the inductees as well, but I want to also thank Dan Armstrong for the work that he put in to keep this going. Made it extremely easy on me, the work that he's done and continues to do. So thank you for that. So appreciate it.